Okay, everybody, let's get on here. Let's do the invocation. John Claypool.
Father, we stand before you in thanksgiving for the many blessings that you give us. We thank you for being lions here together, sharing fun, and also our ability to serve our community. This is our flow time, so watch over us, help us to have fun, and enjoy the holidays that are coming up. We ask you to bless this food to us and us in your service. Amen.
Amen. Okay, flag salute, Ken.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Song by Cindy Pickett.
My country is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims' pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. That was
All right.
delicious. How did we do that?
Matt, do we have any guests today?
I need to say something else.
She knows as many people as everybody around here. All right, now I'm going to turn this meeting over to Mr. Pat Palmer.
President Dom, fellow Lions and guests, it's my pleasure to be your program chairman for the month of November 2021. It's actually just kind of my pleasure to be anywhere in November 2021. November 2020 was kind of a rough one, if you remember, for me. Folks, there'll be kind of a theme as we go along. Next week, the theme will be that I am in Hawaii, and somebody else will be up here introducing the speaker. Oh, nobody's happier than me, really. But no, Greg, you can't help me pack. So the long and the short of it is that I pull strings with people who I like very much, and then I ask them to come and talk to us. And the long and the short of it is that today we get our own Charlie Gord. Charlie's actually a 4-year Pioneer Lion member. He's here for his first 100% pin. You know, many years ago, some really caring people sat in a room and we talked to a young man who had been working in a nonprofit down in the Portland, Vancouver region. And he just impressed us in such a way that was just phenomenal. His concept of what it would do and what it would take to care for children in Cowlitz County who have unfortunately been touched with domestic abuse and sexual violence in their lives, and how he could lead our organization really touched all 7 of us, I believe, at that point on the board. At the long point in the conversation about Charlie, everybody in the room said, "Man, he can really speak." And then we realized that there was this incredibly large heart that was behind that voice, and he's brought that to Cowlitz County. I could not be more proud to introduce my friend Charlie Gord, Executive Director of the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center.
Thank you, Pat, for that introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of this group. It's great to see some familiar faces. As Pat mentioned, I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center, or CJAC for short. The mission of our organization is to serve victims of child abuse and their families and provide a collaborative and compassionate community response. So to
However you
understand,
want it.
it's all good. To understand where our organization fits into the community, it's helpful to know how things worked prior to when we came into existence in 2009. So it used to be when a child had disclosed that they had experienced sexual abuse, there needed to be a number of investigations conducted by different entities in our community. So this resulted in the child being brought over to a police interrogation room to be interviewed by a member of law enforcement, and then over to the child welfare office to be interviewed by a CPS investigator, then over to the prosecuting attorney's office to be interviewed by a DPA, and several more stops from there. So what you had happening in our community was children who had already been subjected to trauma were being re-traumatized just by our investigative process. So a number of our community leaders, our prosecutor, our police chiefs, medical, mental health professionals, and victim advocates all came together and said, our community can do better. In fact, our community can be a standard bearer and create a model that shows other communities how to serve these children. That was really the catalyst for the formation of the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center. Now, when a child is suspected of being the victim of abuse, law enforcement, CPS, they contact us. We bring that child and their family into our child-focused, family-friendly facility where that child is going to speak one-on-one with our child forensic interviewer, who's a licensed clinical therapist, trained to conduct the conversation in a developmentally appropriate and therapeutic manner, and also in a legally sound manner. Now, while that conversation is going on, the detective, the prosecuting attorney, the CPS investigator, they're in our observation room viewing the conversation on monitors so that they all get the information they need in real time for their investigation. Oftentimes, detectives are writing out warrants in our observation room. They need this information in real time, but this way the child isn't impacted by their presence. The conversation is audio and video recorded and entered in as evidence in the legal proceedings. Now, while that conversation is going on, we have a family advocate who is meeting with the parents and the family in our waiting room to provide support for them throughout the process, but also to get them connected with community resources and services to help support the family moving forward. All of the children we serve through our partnerships, receive access to specialized trauma counseling that's provided at no charge to the family. And that service extends not just to the child victim, but also to their non-offending parents and non-offending siblings who we treat as secondary victims in this process. Abuse really impacts an entire family, and we need to approach it that way as a community and help the entire family heal moving forward. We coordinate the child's specialized forensic medical exam, which is an important part of the process because depending on the window in which the last incident occurred, there may need to be evidence collection gathered, or there may need to be STD, STI testing, or other injuries resulting from the abuse. We coordinate all that and support the child throughout that process. We provide case management services to the child and family, not just in the months after abuse occurred, but sometimes for years afterwards. As many of you know, the criminal justice system and adjudication process can be lengthy, and families need support during that time as well. So that's really the heart of why we were formed, and those are our core services, but we've expanded over the years to invest a lot of energy and resources in child abuse prevention. We conduct child sexual abuse prevention training for members in the community, for professional groups. If anybody is interested in attending one of those trainings, either for yourself as an individual, or if you're involved with a church group, a volunteer organization, or any other group, just reach out. We would love the opportunity to help teach you how you can do your part to keep kids in our community safe. We provide professional training in terms of mandatory reporting training for a number of community agencies that work with kids. We partner with Parks and Rec to train all their staff. We partner with a number of child care providers here locally. Organizations that work and serve youth, we teach them how they can responsibly observe and respond to potential instances of abuse in our community. So that's a little bit about who our organization is. Let's talk a little bit more about who we serve. So we serve about 200 children a year for child abuse investigations. So for criminal investigations, about 200 a year take place here locally in Cowlitz County. About 90% of those investigations are child sexual abuse investigations, but we do also work with victims of severe physical abuse. And if a child witnesses a sexual assault or witnesses a homicide, they have been subjected to that trauma, but law enforcement needs their statement for their investigations. We work with those individuals as well. About 75% of the kiddos we serve are girls. That discrepancy in the gender is accounted for by a couple of factors. Sadly, girls are more likely to be subjected to sexual abuse than boys, and boys are less likely to disclose when they have been abused. So that's why we see girls really overrepresented in our service data. The average age of a child we serve is 9.3 years old, which is pretty much right in line with the national average of about 9.1 years old. So that's the average age of a kiddo we serve. We serve children as young as 3, all the way up to 18, and in some instances we do serve adults. If an adult has intellectual and developmental disabilities and experiences assault, law enforcement asks us to come in and we work and serve those individuals as well. Let's talk a little bit about the impact we have on the community. And our organization's impact is really multifaceted. There's a financial impact we have on the community. The Center for Disease Control recently conducted a study that found that nationally accredited child advocacy centers like us, we save a local community $1,000 in tax-paying resources per every child served. That savings is the result of taking these otherwise fragmented investigations and turning it into one coordinated community approach to these investigations. That saves the taxpayers $1,000 per kiddo. We serve about 200 kiddos a year. We save our local community about $200,000 a year. So there's a significant financial impact that we have. There's also an impact in terms of the safety of the community. The U.S. Department of Justice recently conducted a study that found that we improve the reliability and integrity of criminal justice outcomes and child abuse investigations. So it results in more integrity in the investigation, more likely to result in criminal justice outcomes, which helps keep the community safe. There's also a mental health impact we have on the community. The National Children's Alliance conducted a study that recently found that we reduce the PTSD symptomology, not just for the child victim, but also for their parents. So we see less PTSD symptoms when individuals receive services through our organization. So we have a financial impact, an impact on the safety of the community, and on the mental health and well-being of these children and their parents. I want to briefly talk about the impact that COVID has had on our organization and just on the service landscape for these children. So we have been operating throughout the pandemic. We never shut down. We were considered an essential service, and we've been providing services throughout the pandemic. But we've certainly saw the impact of the stay-at-home statewide order that was enacted in March 2020. In April 2020, the following month, statewide child abuse reports decreased 77%. So pretty much right after that stay-at-home order, child abuse reporting really fell off. And the reasons make sense when you think about it. We didn't have children in schools. We didn't have children in youth sports, in community organizations, and after-school programs, meaning they weren't around mandatory reporters. These children weren't around adults who could report what they had observed or what a child had told them. So we had children who were really isolated, and at times isolated with their abuser. So we saw a decrease in just child abuse investigations, again, statewide. Locally, our community was more resilient than most in the state, and we saw less of a decrease than we saw in most regions of the state, but we still have our service volume is about 10% lagging behind historical average. So it's come back up, but it hasn't come back up to where it was pre-pandemic in terms of abuse reporting. We made a number of environmental modifications to our center in response to the pandemic. We created a second observation room, so as multiple investigators are coming over to observe, they could observe safely in their own space. We created a second waiting room for similar purposes. So we made a number of changes just in order to continue to safely operate and serve families, which fortunately we've been able to do without interruption throughout the pandemic. We have certainly, with the families we work, we have seen the impact of trials being canceled. So trials in Cowlitz County just resumed a couple of weeks ago after having been canceled. And so we've had a number of families we serve whose case has been waiting to be adjudicated and has been in limbo for this last 18 months, which can be extremely difficult on children and families who are waiting to testify before they really feel they can move forward. So we've certainly seen the impact in that with the children we serve. I want to talk briefly about how we're funded. So we are funded through a combination of public and private support. We receive support from Cowlitz County, the City of Longview, the City of Woodland. We receive support from a number of private foundations. We're a proud partner of the United Way, Community Foundation of Southwest Washington, the Blue Scope Foundation. We also rely on the support and generosity of private individuals and businesses, and we conduct a number of fundraising activities throughout the year. If anybody's interested in ever participating in one, next week, Wednesday, that's November 10th, Panera Bread in Kelso is donating 20% of sales that evening to our organization, and they're also donating 20% of all online takeout or any takeout orders that day. So if you're interested, on November 10th, grab a meal at Panera, and 20% of the proceeds will go to our organization. I really appreciate this opportunity, one, just to see you guys and reconnect with everybody, but also appreciate your interest in learning more just about sort of what our local victims experience. And hopefully your takeaway here is that you're filled with some hope and reassurance, knowing that our local victims are safe and protected throughout the investigative process, thanks to the work of our organization and the work of our community partners, all local law enforcement, prosecution, CPS, victim advocates, medical and mental health professionals, coming together in this coordinated community approach that we have been asked, and we've helped implement this model in other communities. We helped start a Child Advocacy Center in Lewis County. We just opened a new location in Wahkiakum County to better serve those victims as well. So we have some really cool things going on in our community, and it's great to be a part of. Does anybody have any questions?
Good
Okay,
question.
please.
First one deals with the homeless issue and the workload for CJAC. Has that increased tremendously over the crisis that we've had with the homeless issue?
Repeat this question.
And the second part of the question,
Wait a minute.
Just 1 sec.
Oh, Mike's got to keep you.
He's going to repeat the question too.
Who asked the question?
Okay.
Ken.
Take the marbles out of your mouth.
Do you have room for a great facility? The first part of the question was the homeless issue, and it's created with the youth, and has it increased in where do you stand on the workload for CJAC and take care of that problem? The second part of the question, when are we going to have our CJAC breakfast again?
Two excellent questions, Ken. Starting with the first part of the question, we have seen an impact as the scope of our local homeless problem comes into focus. We have seen ripple effects in regards to our service population. We've also seen it too with parents who have a home but are really struggling with childcare or are struggling with other aspects. Sometimes these parents are put in a position where they make difficult choices about childcare and who they allow to supervise their kids. Sometimes in terms of a homeless campment situation, we have seen abuse occur within a homeless camp, within a homeless community that's going on. So we definitely do see that impact, and we work with other community agencies and our partners to try to help families who are experiencing homelessness to try to get out from under it. But I can tell you that the scope of the problem, we really see it play out in terms of these kiddos that are increasingly vulnerable and exposed to some individuals to whom they shouldn't be. In regards to the breakfast, we will not be having the breakfast this year. We made a decision to put it on hold throughout COVID. We hope that it'll be back in some shape or form next holiday season. So thank you for that plug, Ken.
Hi there. I can't eat your pancake breakfast, but I always donate to it. I have to do gluten-free, so Panera's out of the question. Can I just give you a donation in cash and it'll go to the fund?
That would be really cool. I'll make sure to send you a receipt as well.
I don't need that.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Let's see, Charlie, would you accept other donations today from people?
Thank you so much.
There you go.
So I don't really have a question, but CJAC has become part of my family as of this summer. And the work they did was amazing. My daughter's still currently in counseling. We're still dealing with their agency. They call and check on me once a week. It's still in court, but I told my sister that that was who we wanted to donate to, that it was about to be his new favorite nonprofit. So it's different when you hear him talk, but to have a personal story that the way that the police talked to her initially was pretty invasive. The way that this happened was amazing, and everyone I've talked to, they're so happy that we have an agency like this. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That means a lot to me to hear. And it just reinforces the importance of our work. So thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad we were able to work with your family. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Sorry.
Ken, Sarah, and
Any other questions?
Will Money.
Oh, here it comes on.
It's fine. I was wondering, you have it set up now so it's much better for the child and the family as far as that. But how does a detective like get a question to your trained interviewer? That's just something that popped in.
Really good question. So he just asked, in terms of the detective's role in the process and in terms of the interview and them getting the information they need for their investigation, how does that communication occur? It's a great question. So one, the detective sends over, when they're sending over a referral, they include a summary of the allegations, and then they come in and they meet with us prior to the interview happening to review sort of their case notes and case file in terms of their investigation. Essentially, we need to gather everything that they need to be established for their investigation. So sometimes there's multiple suspects, sometimes there's a question in terms of jurisdiction, in terms of where the abuse occurred. We need to work with the detective beforehand and to make sure that we are really clear on all the information they need. Then, during the course of the interview, our interviewer always takes a structured, scheduled break. About 3/4 of the way through the interview, one, to give the child a little break, but also then to go, for the interviewer to go into our observation room and check in with the prosecuting attorney and the detective again, and just to see if they need anything further clarified or any additional information. So those conversations take place before the interview, and then they take a break during the interview to check in again with the detective. So that's a really good question. Appreciate that one. Well, thank you so much for everything you guys do to support the community. We couldn't do, thank you so much. We couldn't do this work without the generosity of people like you guys, so really appreciate everything you do to support us and the other service providers here locally. We're proud to be a part of this work. Really appreciate this opportunity to talk. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Charlie, thank you so much. You know, there's the long and the short part of my involvement at CJAC. The long part of it is I'll do it as long as I live. The short part of it is that you don't know who it is that's out there that messes around with kids. And last Thursday, I was given some money for my part in Gary Hill's funeral service, and guess where that's going? Tom's going to go ahead and count up your generosity here and make sure to hand that over to Charlie, and then the Lions will get a generic tax deduction, receipt. Yes, sir.
One other thing I wondered about is quoting device for his teleprompter. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mentioned in my introduction, the guy's an amazing speaker. Let's just look at the other impacts that Charlie Gord has had on Cowles County since he's come here. Oh, darn. He's also on the Fiber Federal Credit Union Board. Let's see, what are some of the other activities that you kind of joined in on, Charlie?
There's a few. What I will say is that this is such a generous community, and it is so great to be part of the work being done. And there is just such a core group of dedicated, involved people who want to see our community get to a better place, and you guys are making that happen. So what I will say is it's been an honor to be a part of this community. I've been here for the last 6 years and been here for this role, and it is such an honor just to be considered a member of Cowles County.
There you go. Let's see, 93 there, and there was a couple there. I think we're a little over 220 bucks. There you go, Pioneer Lions, you're awesome. You are the best. Oh, Charlie, I'd love to give you a membership application, but you're already a member. But you can put this in your collection, because every year I'm going to call you in November to come and talk, because you're my back door guy. He's the guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. And Isla, what are you doing? Is it time for?
No.
It's not time.
It's not time. So you might as well go sit down. We'll be told.
If somebody wants to speak, think I need to be ready.
Okay, but he's not ready.
Right. Okay, so moving along. Thanks again, Charlie. Is there any sunshine report back there? Gail?
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests. Alice Minion's memorial will be this Sunday at 1 p.m. here at the Eagles.
Okay, just from mine, we're gonna have a quick board meeting right over here in the corner right after this meeting. So, moving along, let's see, Louis?
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I got a whole bunch of things. Number one was, we just got done donating 700 bags of kettle corn to the chaplains, which they gave out to the first responders. And I want to thank everyone that helped me with that project. Greg First, Reed, Lloyd, Greg Churchill, who else was there? Doug Irvine. No, you didn't help. And it was Larry Dyson. And number two was, we started on the Christmas lights, which are going to go up on November the 17th. And we have 5 barrels done. We have 6 more to do, which we're going to schedule that for this Friday at 9 o'clock. So we need to finish those up. And I want to thank Sue Skinner, Darlene, and Sharon for getting that started, and Tom. And Lloyd worked half on that and half on the kettle corn, so yes, I thank Tom for that. And I don't know the time on the 17th yet. Yeah. We'll put them up. But we got to get the lights done first, and then we're going to schedule a work party to take all this Christmas stuff down to the lake. So we got to get those barrels done first.
Wow.
I think so. Is that it?
Okay.
Thank you, Louis.
Greg Firth?
President fellow Lions and guests, got a few announcements. Sunshine Committee, I had a little note here. Members have been in the club for a while. You remember Jan Hansen? She worked at the library. Yeah. I was at the library this morning working on another project with them, and I was told that Jan passed away. Yeah, I think she moved down to Arizona after she retired, and then she went to Hawaii. That's where she passed away at. Okay, quick announcements here. Next Wednesday night is Sight and Hearing Foundation meeting. I'll make another announcement next Tuesday on that. Coming up in December the 4th, Walk and Knock this year is going to be like we did last year. It's going to be a drive and drop. Probably be out at Walmart again. They're parking lot out 38. Now the big announcement, the membership drive, bring a friend to lunch on, what is that, November 23rd, Tuesday. I know a lot of you have been talking to individuals to bring to lunch. When you
get somebody you know is going to come, please give me their name so I can have kind of a count as to how many. And anybody wants more information, just see me after the meeting. Thank you.
He just wants to know what it's going to cost him. All right, Paul Spears.
President Tom, fellow lines and guests. I have put a sign-up sheet over there for bell ringing December 11th, Saturday. There's spaces for 2 people in each time zone, but you can put 3, 4, I don't care. It's good to have a whole crew of people show up for that. So I'll spend a few minutes afterwards, let you sign up. But I have to have some time to leave because we're probably going to go dance a little bit when we're done.
Isla, you had something?
Yeah, I want to be sure that the fish organization, President Tom, fellow Lions and guests. Okay, find me. The fish organization, actually my husband, donated a new Microsoft program to our Lions computer because they couldn't use PowerPoint anymore. So my husband uninstalled and reinstalled a brand new program, and I just wanted to be sure that we all thank Fish. Thanks, Fish.
Thank you. Now, Marilyn?
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Part of my item here. As you know, I'm district governor this year, and sometimes I get to fill in for past district governor Doug Harvey. And at the most recent cabinet meeting we had, I thought I did that. President Tom, fellow Lions, vice presidents, protocol, honestly. I owe you $1 or $2.
Oh, we know.
Okay.
We've got a list.
Just pretend I'm Doug Harvey presenting Ken Botero. Would you mind coming up here, please?
Holy moly.
I'm sorry it isn't gift wrapped, but you know, last year Ken was our zone chair, right? And he worked really hard in many, many ways. And one of the things I was particularly impressed about was that he kept the zone connected by Zoom. And he managed to get every club, officers, at least president or secretary, to attend a monthly get-together. But this award right here has to do with your newsletter that you presented. And that was for a contest at the non-spring conference that we had. And this is from Contest and Award Chair Helen Sutphin for putting out a great newsletter and winning, obviously, hands down.
Now, the story that goes along with that newsletter, I have too many things to do. So this coffee cup, which we have tons of, are going to go, Cindy, put the camera down. Put the camera down. This lovely lady came and did all of the zone newsletters. She put everything together. I just sent some emails to her, and she put out the most fantastic newsletters for the entire zone area. Love you, and thank you very much. Zuzuka.
Teamwork. Yeah, you didn't go tonight. You said, I only had an extra mug, and she didn't know who it should go to, but I do now know. And those are Cindy. Yeah, there you go.
Good. Anyhow, there's a cups of the cups.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, does anyone else that I might have forgot have anything? Okay, it's tail twisting time.
Tail twisting.
Yeah, about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, yeah. I know, it's, it's an important Tuesday of the month when we're supposed to wear Lions gear and yes, who didn't do that. So. There you go, there's $5. How about Skip Metzger? He's wearing some stuff. Do you have your 19 Speedo on also? Hey.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests.
Good job.
Kind of how it goes. I have a sad dollar, I guess, in that I didn't know that Janet passed. And I was on the Longview Library Board and on the Foundation Board a total of about 14 years. And I got to know Jan as the kids librarian, one of the most incredible, talented people who truly loved what she was doing, working with kids in that library, and she made that program pop. And so that saddens me that she's not with us anymore. On a longitudinal note, going back a ways, some of you might remember that the Cougar Rooter bus had fallen upon hard times a number of times, like all the Apple Cups I can remember. But yet, after a brief visit to the Arizona desert, the bus has most of its wheels on, windshield still has some cracks in it, and the carburetor doesn't run real smoothly. However, we only need to win one more game. We're going to a full game.
Did anybody else watch that Kruger game? Did you? So I'm watching it with my almost a father-in-law, Gary, and I looked at him and I was like, so what high school hijacked the Cougar bus and drove it to Tempe and played like real college players? It was a fantastic game. Any happy bucks back here, Rexer? Hey, nice to see you, boss. Look at that. Oh, here we go. Cindy.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I don't know how much money I have, but it's a lot, so I'm going to talk for a while. I'm going to go in chronological order. It's actually $35. 33 of those are for Jim's and my anniversary on Friday, the 22nd of October. And going back to my visit with Tracy, oh, you're not going to believe it. She wanted prime rib for her 60th birthday, because if you remember right, her birthday was spent in the hospital room with Daryl. So she wanted prime rib. I'm like, okay, we go shopping for it. It should have been wrapped in gold leaf. It was that expensive. I was going to buy it, and I said, how about if we split this? And she goes, oh, yeah. So she's bragging to all these neighbors that I've never met about how good my prime rib is. Okay, our household runs on gas. Hers is on electric. Okay? There's a little button that you're supposed to push that says start on an electric stove. My gas doesn't have that. So Jim's walking me through the prep of this prime rib, right? It's a family tradition, started with his dad. And so he's telling me, put it in at 115, put it at 275, and just let it slowly cook. So I check on it at 4 o'clock. The fat cap is still on it. The oven was not on. Okay, so there's a button that's called convection. I asked Tracy, do you know how to use this? She goes, no. So I get on my phone and I Google it, right? Convection, 275 for 4 to 6 hours. I don't have time for that. So I hit convection, 400 degrees, and in 30 minutes that prime rib was done. I mean, I'm meeting these strangers. She's talking up my prime rib and it's still raw. It's like, oh boy. But it was a very good trip. We shed some tears over Daryl, and we had some good laughter tears with memories of Daryl. So it was all in all a good trip. Jim had offered to pay her to fly to Atlanta to make sure I made it to the terminal to go to Dothan. And she goes, Cindy, you're 60 years old. I'm sure you can figure it out. And I did. It was a good trip. I came back to town 2 days before our anniversary. We had dinner at Grant's. It was wonderful and just loving my life, and everything's good.
Thank you, Cindy.
Cindy was like 25 pounds lighter than she is today, right? And she's still standing here. She turned sideways. I can still see Harold. Yeah, well, you gotta stop that. Hey, since we're right here, Dave, why don't we do you, and then we'll continue around.
Here's 10 happy bucks, 10 awards, happy bucks.
Thank you, David.
I think it's a very worthwhile, even though I was told what it was for, but I'm sure it's a worthwhile project. Anyway, fellow Lions, President Tom, fellow Lions, and guests. I want to thank each and every one of you for the time I have here and for the friends that I've accumulated. And it's just been a real joy. I've been here about 5 or 6 years. I've been retired for 42 years in a Longview Bidwell, as all of you know, or most of you do. And I'm going to make it real short. I'll do 2 songs, one's a chorus and one's a song. Thank you, Lord, for saving my soul. Thank you, Lord, for giving to me thy great salvation so full and free. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night, from the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
So let's be your best rendition yet, Dave. Thanks, buddy. Marilyn.
President, Tom, fellow Lions and guests, here's $1 for the last mistake I made.
But I thought that was Steve. That was his first mistake.
Not to compete with you, David, but when Skip was talking about his wheels and the bus and all of that, so Skip, I'm paying $1 to remind you about this song. Do you know the song, The Wheels on the Bus Go round and round, round and round?
Paul Spears.
President Tom. President Tom.
Hey, buddy, get back that
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I had something I brought in today to show some of you old timers would have recognized it. Nigel Green would have, and maybe some others. It's a little wooden nickel that was used by a member of my family in 1974, 1975 when they were running for district governor 19G. His name was Walt Bebbage. I know, very good to remember him, Mark, and maybe some of the others. But I have lost it. So if somebody finds it, there it is. Yeah, it says, somebody stole my nickel. Yeah. Anyway, on one side it says the best insurance, and it says Bebbage, District Governor, 1974, 75, 19G. No fault with Walt. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Some of that old stuff is fun, isn't it? Old stuff, Mark.
Oh, somebody said you needed a real nickel.
How do you follow that? President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, first $1 is for Gary Hill's service last week. Everybody that had a part in that, the Eagles, very grateful for that. It was a cathartic service here. Second $1, don't often get all of our family together, but on Halloween we had both kids, their spouses, and 8 grandchildren in our condo, so that was a lot of fun. The final $1 is for the grandchild-to-be. After a couple of false alarms last week, through the previous week, they decided that Alyssa's blood pressure and diabetes are high enough that they had scheduled her to go in and go induced this morning.
Found out there was no room at the inn. They got down there, they had a surge of cases down there, sent her home because they don't have a space for her. So we'll see how this goes, and hopefully by next week we'll have another match up.
Oh my goodness. How many people would pay $1 at some point on a Tuesday in November for Mark Kelch to actually come and wear a tie again? I mean, this whole Uncle Ben look, it's old.
I do have a few that you could probably cut off, so I can wear one.
There you go. Hey, how about Lion Gray?
President Tom, no lines of yes. This dollar has to do with, Gary. Last week, we were here for his, memorial, and it was quite a turnout. Toward the end, I was talking to, our past president, Mike Julian. This lady comes up, she says, "Are you Greg Firth?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you remember me?" And I looked at her and I go, "No." She says, "Picture me with red hair." And I go, "Oh, I know who you are." That was Gary's cousin, Laurel, who Gary lived with years and years and years ago. And I never put two and two together. She looks better than I do.
There was some, that's a math. Engineers got it, that was kind of fun. Hey, how about Steve Johnson?
President Tom, Phil Lyons, a guest. This is just for not wearing Lions apparel.
Yay, thank you for being honest.
Let's go down and see John Claypool for a minute.
Thanks for wearing some apparel, Steve. President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I have a couple happy dollars here. I also got to spend a very fun Halloween with family. The best costume that I saw was a kid that looked like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I thought that was pretty neat until I saw another one that looked exactly the same. So I kind of wore that out. My other happy dollar is a very happy dollar. Going to be heading for the coast Thursday. The tides start out at 1.1 Thursday afternoon, and they go to a 1.8 on Saturday night. So that means it's like walking to Hawaii to get your clams.
Yeah.
They're that far out the beach, which means I don't have to walk that far. They're going to be all over before I get there. Anyway, looking forward to 5 days down at the coast.
While we walk up to the front, hey, if everybody would, out here in in real land, say in TV land, hey, Bill Pontius, how are you? Wave and say hi to Bill. Hi, Bill. Show everybody else. Hi, Bill. Bill Pontius is tuned in on the Zoom. Let's see. Huh? Well, you owe me $1 for your phone ringing, so we'll figure it out.
I set it up, I just wanted to...
You just wanted to toss in. There you go. That's a pretty cool guy. That's kind of the way he is.
One at a time.
Well, just the phone ring.
Phone ringing. Okay, there's phone ringing.
Phone ringing.
Happy Buck? Happy Buck.
Tom? Wait, Tom.
I know, but...
Oh, he's last.
Yeah.
He's in. Okay.
Tom's left.
Well, I kept your money, Tom.
Okay.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I'm going to just piggyback a little bit on what Louis said about the 700 bags of kettle corn. Louis did a lot of time to drive and lead this as far as picking up the little gaps and things that people weren't getting done. There wasn't a lot of people there to help. And it took several hours on Friday, several hours on Monday to get that completed. But I will also mention that he was very clever in the fact that I know that Sharon and Sue came over to do kettle corn, and he found a way to get them to do Christmas lights, which everybody signs up to do, of course. And I'm sitting there saying, how did you get conned into this? She goes, I don't know. Louis just says, I've got something for you to do. And the next thing you know, Sharon, Darlene, and so we're doing Christmas lights. So heads up to Louis for be able to manage that kettle corn and Christmas lights.
That Louis is a leader. Anybody else out here in the land of normal folks? Okay, President Tom, you've got your own microphone. Why don't you do your happy bucks?
Just to let everybody know that I will be gone the next 2 weeks. So there's no meetings. No. Lloyd will be taking over for me, so.
Can't you stay?
I cannot stay. I'm going to Florida tomorrow morning. My son is getting married, so I'll be gone.
Right on. I am not getting married in Hawaii. Nope.
All right, moving along. Cindy, do you have any senility?
I do. John Claypool. He writes down. And today you got all my
You want it?
All right.
President Tom,
Yay.
I have just been asked to do something and I would be happy to do it. I have been asked to make a motion to give happy bucks today to the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center. Is that something that you could?
Second.
Is that something you could preside over?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against it? No.
No.
Yes.
Isla?
Thank you guys so much.
Isla, as directed, that money shall go to him. Let us know.
Thank you guys.
Just let me
Really
know how
appreciate
much.
your generosity.
Okay, announcements. Checking lights, 9 a.m. Friday. I think it's like this, what is it? What's the date? 6th? Whatever. Anyway, Friday, this Friday. At the shop, 9 o'clock. Oh, well, I was close. I won't be here, so I was close.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, no matter to me.
December 11th, Fred Meyer's White Cane, right?
No, White Cane, bell ringing.
Bell ringing, okay. I'll get it. And quick board meeting right over here, right after this meeting. And all right, let's move along here. Anybody got anything else before I do the tickets? Oh, are these in, Lloyd? Oh,
Maryland. One hand. Yeah.
I emailed it to everyone. Notice my voices?
Friday and Saturday, so register and go on.
all right, moving along here, let's see, the white ticket number is 473 680.
681. Has to be somebody there early. It's Tom. Oh! Oh!
Thank you, Lloyd. You did it again.
Getting suspicious now.
What do you do? Do you just write your name on the other one and throw it in there? Is that what you do? Is that, yeah. Okay.
No, she just leaves it connected, so it's
okay.
You can buy new tickets, you just keep using the same ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Now I'm gonna have to ask my wife for extra money to go to Florida.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, red ticket. 391098.
David's got it. Where'd you like that to go, David? White King.
Okay. And then back, Jane.
President Tom. The take was $93. Is that right? 93? Is that what you said? A little over $300 total for CJAC.
All right. So we had $93 collected there, so let me add this up. It's $326 today.
CJAC.
The CJAC. Thank you, everyone. Sure, he well appreciates it. All right, and with that said, the meeting is over.